Hey, Renee, Chris, and Ryan going live. Best podcast, Beauty and the Beast. Sit back and catch a vibe. Oh yeah, we talking zombies and apocalypses and all those things you like. Going beast mode, and if you didn't know, it's P to Z up on the mic. Whoa. Hey, TWD family, grab the snacks about the pantry and subscribe and like if you can, please. Or those walkers eat you like some candy. Hey, okay. You at the right place at the right time. No one does it better, that's the bottom line. Beauty and the Beast, this is prime time. Let's go.
There you go. Good.
You have to wait till it fades. If you
good.
don't, it ruins the whole thing.
Gotta get the good fade in there.
Yeah. If you don't, it fucks everything up.
It caught us saying, I'm ready, I'm ready. Damn it, next time.
That would have been a great transition.
Oh, Mitchell just popped right in. What up, Mitch?
Mitchell just popped in. Hi, and Tiffy are in
What?
the chat.
What's up, Roomy? How's it going?
Yeah.
Roomy.
I still call top floor, by the way.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. You'll be upstairs. We'll be downstairs. We have to probably nail that down real soon.
Yeah.
And at least I'll be safe from having to go to the gym at 6 a.m. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mitchell's gonna have to be on that boat. Gonna drag him out.
He was fine with it.
He's fine with it. Everyone's fine with going until you're there.
Yeah.
And then shit
Well,
starts
I'll
happening.
make sure to bring the air mattress for him.
Normally, I would say, like, when you're hungover, it's going to be hard, but I forgot that he's minor, so.
Yeah, he'll be all right.
He's just a baby boy.
He'll be.
I'll just be hungover.
We'll sneak him some drinks.
It's all fun and games until Dustin drags you out of bed at 2 o'clock in the morning for a noise complaint.
Yeah.
Dragging out of bed? That's when I'm going to bed. So,
I don't know if you know this, but when it comes to conventions, you get 180% out of me all day. The minute that the clock strikes midnight, I am shot.
Right.
I am ready for bed. I mean, it was in October when we were at the camp, right? I said I was going to be. I'll take a nap for like an hour. I fucking slept from like 10 p.m. until like 8 a.m. I was gone.
I get like 8 hours of sleep the weekend of the camp. Like, I just go.
Even Renee had a night where she just passed out.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just went up to take a nap, and then it's morning.
Yeah.
I got real comfortable.
Which is hard to
Look, it's Beauty and the Beast tonight.
It is.
Renee, Chris, Ryan, and Meg.
What's going on?
If I have obligations, I'm good. I'm there. I will not fail you.
Unless
But
it's
the
a
minute-
party.
No, that's not an obligation. No. Once that's optional, then you run into problems. That's when I'm
Alright,
like,
so-
wow, I've got the AC cranked down to 60 and I'm under 2 comforters. I'm chilling. I'm good.
So, guys, you heard it here first. The party in spring is mandatory for Ryan.
Okay. All right.
I don't know until I hear that from Casey or Oscar.
The one or the 60s Woodstock party?
Yes.
Okay, so you got 2 outfits you gotta find.
I'm probably just gonna walk into each one for about 30 minutes and leave. That's
Yeah.
usually what I do.
That's what we did last time.
Yeah, that's kind of like my MO.
That's what you guys always do.
Yeah.
Well, hey, how are you?
And then Renee's going to be dancing.
Of course, that's all I do.
I'll be drinking, so that's fine.
And Josh will be at the bar with those guys, probably.
Speaking of, Tipsy Tuesday.
Tipsy Tuesday.
Hey.
We got that Deadpool going on.
That Chris doesn't love at all. Chris hates Deadpool.
I can't
Hate
stand the
them.
guy.
Yeah.
Fuck you both. No, okay. So, quick story. I texted them this morning asking if anybody liked Deadpool because I had something I was trying to get rid of, and Chris mocked me because I forgot that he liked Deadpool.
I don't like Deadpool. Okay.
Love.
Deadpool is like a part of like my persona. Like
You really are like
he's
Deadpool.
literally a personality I have.
Oh, yeah.
That comes out.
Oh.
like 100%.
Do you know who else I realized Chris is?
Oh.
He's
Shane?
Bradley Cooper. He's Bradley Cooper's character in The Hangover.
Yes.
I watched that recently. I'm like, that's Chris.
Paging Dr. Asshole. Whatever. Douchebag, whatever he calls him.
Just imagine him at the payphone. Yeah, we fucked up.
Yeah, that would. That's actually happened for several times.
Happened to everyone at some point.
Yeah.
Well, that's like when you had was it the Charger?
Mm-hmm.
And I got you the friggin' Deadpool,
Yeah,
leather Deadpool seat covers.
I still have the
and the
little
keychain.
pop. Yeah, I still
the
got it.
Funko Pop keychain.
Still got it.
Yep. Because that's what friends do.
Ooh, ouch.
What? No.
Getting a little testy.
I half expected Meg to be like, yeah, well, he's my brother, so fuck him.
See, I don't have to say it. It's just no.
Oh, okay, all right. See, I did know it. I knew it deep down.
Yes.
I'm proud of you for that. I'm proud of you for admitting it too.
For those of you asking about what's in the cup,
I have no clue. He made it.
It's Ciroc Tropical.
Mm.
So it's Ciroc Vodka Tropical.
About 6 shots worth.
There's a little bit of lemonade and a splash of mango seltzer.
Mm.
That actually sounds banging.
It's
really
very good.
You don't taste the alcohol at all.
That's a Bravo, and I love it.
Yeah.
And mine is a pineapple whiskey sour. So it
That
has
sounds delicious.
It's bullet bourbon
Ah.
and then pineapple juice and a little bit of lemon juice. It's delicious.
Mm-hmm. So
And
we
I'm not
figured,
drinking it out.
we all figured, since tonight is episode 50 for us as a
Yes.
group, we've obviously, over the years, we have over, I think, 200 or something like that.
Has
or
to be
over
at this point,
but,
yeah.
But we wanted to, obviously, since we rebranded this, we wanted to celebrate episode 50 as a little milestone for us. And we're going to talk about The Last of Us, obviously. We're going to talk about episodes 6 and 7.
I'll sleep through the first half. You guys take it away.
We obviously, we have our group text and we always talk and everything. So, I guess today I had the unpopular opinion, Renee as well.
The hot take.
Yeah, where I guess a lot of people weren't happy with episode 6. Now, I'm sure, Meg, from your point of view, from the video game point of view, and everything that I've seen online, YouTube, everything, I guess the main thing is that the gamer world knew that they would have to stray in order to.
Yeah.
You have to put that human element into a TV show. We've talked about this before. You can't just make this exactly like the video game. You'll be missing that human element where your connection to the character doesn't exist, and you're basically just watching the video game in live form. You know what I mean? It's that's essentially what's like me watching someone play the game. I'd be doing the same thing on my TV. I'm watching just characters play out a video game. It's episode 6 was, compared to the in my opinion, to the other episodes, obviously was slower. A ton of dialogue, a whole bunch of backstory stuff and everything. But it is showing the growing connection, between the two, both of them, and it's something that obviously when you get into the end of 6 and getting into 7, where you can see where this is her guy. This has become the figure, that father figure that she's been looking for, that person to look up to and model after, want to be like. I mean, everything is, can you teach me? Can you show me? Can we do this? Can we do that? And we also find out a lot about her, her fascination with space and everything else. So, the moon, all these crazy things that I know that you'll be able to tie together for us with the video game and whatnot. So I just want to say, like I said, it was unpopular opinion, but I actually really enjoyed 6. I thought the way it started out was great. It's a 3-month time jump from where we left off. It's winter. And, they're out in the middle of, is that Kansas City still, I guess? Or they were heading towards, was it Montana?
Wyoming.
Wyoming.
Jackson, Wyoming.
Yeah, Wyoming. Okay. To the tower. They were supposed to head towards the radio tower. I remember that. But so they come across this older couple living
Dude,
in.
he's hilarious.
They were funny.
We were dying when we were waiting for you guys to log on. That's exactly what we were talking about. We were talking about that scene that played out in the beginning. Where he comes home and he opens the door, and the first thing he does is look at his wife, and you get to see her eyes gaze over to the side, and he's like, he knows right away, like that, like no verbal communication, it was just a visual. So like he already knows something's up. And then from there on, it kind of, you get like a little bit of that comedic aspect, which I thoroughly enjoy about the show. You get a glimpse of having like that little bit of relief, I guess, you know, in that type of world.
That's real.
Yeah, it's exactly, it's real. You know, like when Ellie comes running downstairs and everything like that, and he's like, he goes, what's up with this psycho or something like that. He goes, he like looks at you, he goes, what's up with this psycho?
And the way he says it too is phenomenal.
Yeah, they're both very
They're like a the fuck look.
Yeah. Because they're both very like just even keeled.
And then he looks at his wife like, "You let this happen?"
Yeah.
Like,
he goes, "You made him stoop."
Yeah. He goes, "Why don't you shoot him?" or whatever he said, and she goes, "The gun's all over there."
Made it soup instead. What else would you do?
I love the part though when Joel pulls up the map. He's like, "Where are we on this map?"
Mm-hmm.
And your answer better match up with your wife's.
Yeah.
And he looks at her. He goes, Did you tell him the truth? Yeah. Are you telling me the truth? Yeah.
Meg, I know you have a lot to talk about with this episode. What are your feelings from the gamer standpoint? Are you on? Obviously, I know your opinion. You weren't so high on the episode, but like, tell us why. Like, what pulled you away, or what detached you?
See, I'm that person. I understand. You know, I really like what you said about how it to showing like the realness, how, you know, watching a video game play versus the real thing, which I agree 100% to that. I'm a fan of the action sequences, so anything that it's really up, you know, whether it's gunshots, running, something like that. There's a reason why action movies are my favorite genre. Because I love being constantly entertained. I have wicked bad ADHD, so unless I'm constantly stimulated, I'm gonna zone out. So that's just me personally. However, when they get to Jackson, I love that they did this. We never got to see the inside of Jackson in the first game.
Right.
We only get to see like the dam and the power plant.
Yep.
And we don't get. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say which is so in the game, in season 1 or whatever you want to call it, in the first series, none of that's working yet. That's actually stuff you have to do in the game to get the power on, to get the electricity to work, and everything else. Here we're already seeing it established. Right? Okay. All right.
It's just really nice because we don't see Jackson until the second game. So they're already setting it up for the second season. They're slowly placing, what is it, slowly setting the stones, whatever that saying is or whatever. And like, I like that they're constantly adding more originality to it and building it up.
Right.
And this isn't really a spoiler, but the scene when they're eating, and Ellie looks up and she like yells at like that girl.
Yeah.
That is going to play a huge factor into the next season. I'm not saying who it is. If you know, you know. If you don't know,
there's been some people I guess spoilerage out there, obviously as usual, but there's been some guesses as to who it is and stuff. So I'm sure if people are paying attention and they're following the show that closely, they've already seen it. But
yeah. I do like the little differences, but I think it's just like the slower pacing. But I feel like this episode is just a stepping stone for what's to come for the rest of the season as well as next season. So I get it. The show needed that.
I do want to mention that our longtime friend Ryan Hercules is here. Hercules. Ryan, what is up, man? It's nice to see you in the chat, hanging out with us for a little bit. He said The Last of Us is going to be the next great show. Love Bella Ramsey as Ellie. She is fun, and it's true. She is. We talked about the hate that she's received. We've talked about the hate that goes on because she doesn't look enough like the video game character. There's this, that. You know what? You have to put aside the fact that she's not a spitting image of something that was created on a screen, but the personality and the person that Ellie is, Bella has nailed 100%. she's knocking it out of the water. So out of the park. So out of the water too, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Considering Ellie can't swim.
Well, yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, so as far as that goes, yeah, I mean, she's phenomenal, and so is Pascal. So
I have a feeling they're going to be sweeping up Emmy season next year.
yeah.
If you haven't watched it yet, I highly recommend you go to YouTube and watch Pedro Pascal, Graham Norton. It's fucking hysterical. He did it
I've
with
seen clips of it.
Helen Mirren, is that her name?
Mm-hmm.
And oh my god, it was fucking funny. And he was like, and so Graham goes, "Is it true you're daddy?" And he was like, "Actually, I'm Zaddy." And Helen Mirren goes, "What's that?" He goes, "I don't know, but I like the sound of it. It's so fucking funny."
Actually, when he was on SNL, they made fun of his like daddy status in the skit.
Yeah.
He played like a teacher, and Sarah Paulson joined in on the skit, and it's like, why are you guys constantly making TikToks about me? And you see like all like these heart backgrounds, and all these kids trying to say like all these lines. I'm not even gonna attempt to say because I am not that cool and hip. But I highly recommend watching it.
Yeah.
Because they make one right of him as he's standing there. She's like, how are you making these so fast? And it was hilarious.
So Meg, in this episode, when they're sitting at the campfire and they're talking and everything like that, we were just mentioned before, like her love for space and space travel and everything else. They actually in the show, like they talk about it. She mentions it, like her, her favorite astronaut is Sally Ride, and what do you know? Like, what is her? Is it because she grew up in a time where none of this stuff exists that she's so fascinated by it?
I think so. I don't really know for sure, but I mean, if you think about it, I mean, we're all different ages here. We'll just put it that way. And there's all things that we're fascinated with that we never got to experience too. So I feel like it's the same thing.
Okay. What about you, Renee? I see you nodding your head. So, what'd you take away from it?
Well, I just think, she just found something she was interested in, something that she never experienced or grew up seeing different things that, with the space program and that stuff that she'll never see. And so it's very fascinating to her, and to see a woman in that position, that's why she, and I love that Joel knew her well enough he knew exactly, he didn't need her to tell him, he knew who her favorite would be. Right. So I just thought that was really cool that he's starting to get to know her enough that he knew, so I just thought that was a cool interaction. Yeah.
One of the I know we kind of like got off the topic of, like award season and how well they did it. I just have to say this, the scene where they talked about like, you don't know what loss is. Mm-hmm. I actually got teary. As much as I wasn't a fan of this episode, that scene broke me. Right. And Craig Mazin in the after show specifically said they worked so hard in this scene because it's pretty much the most like famous, well-known scene in the game. So it was shot after shot. Shot for shot, excuse me, couldn't think of that word. It was just beautifully done. And if that doesn't secure them nominations, right, then why the fuck are there award shows?
Yeah. I gotcha. Yeah, sorry, I was just looking at the chat real quick. Ryan says, all the signs in the gym stopped at 2003 when the apocalypse started. Pretty cool to see. Yeah, we've talked about how accurate the show has been following the game. Yeah, when it comes to storyline and it comes to having a developed storyline, implementing things like Ellie trying to learn how to whistle. She does the same thing in the video game. When we talked about if you look at her bedroom in episode 7 when she's on her bed reading that the comic book.
6.
Or 6, sorry. No, 7.
7.
7,
okay.
yeah.
I was thinking of the bedroom in Wyoming, sorry.
No, if you look at the wall, on her wall she has pictures of outer space. She has pictures of the moon, different phases of the moon.
The Mortal Kombat
poster. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much the detail that they're just 100% accurate on.
I did see somebody that was kind of breaking down some of the the companies and like logos and stuff like that, and like some of them didn't exist in 2003. I don't have the specific ones, but there was certain things that fell through the cracks, which to me was kind of funny. It was like the Game of Thrones Starbucks cup, you know what I mean? It was kind of like really funny.
I got something to say about that one.
You know, but I think for the most part they were very good about keeping it to like all life ended at 2003, like all civilization halted at that point. But there was some like funny little Easter eggs if you look at it. Like I don't know about Subway in 2003, but when they're in the mall and you see Subway, I'm like,
no, yeah, it was that Subway.
that looks like but that looks like I'm about to say that looks like a modern Subway.
Oh, you mean the sign?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it didn't look like what I think is like a older Subway
Hmm.
design. So I was like, I don't know. I didn't Google what did Subway look like in 2003, but
Right.
you know what I mean?
Somebody out there did.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
hopefully, you
yeah.
know.
I mean, I know that in episode 7, it was like a blink and miss it kind of thing where she's sitting down and she's talking with, was he a general or officer? I don't
We're
know.
gonna go back to 6 first.
No, I know. I'm just like, it was like a little blink and you miss it thing that happened in 7. So Meg might have caught it.
Skip it around.
Meg
Oh,
might have
I know
caught
what you're talking about. And I caught it.
Okay. All right.
I have a big gripe about that one.
Maybe.
I just want to say that Pi said I won an award for ultimate nerding about analyzing Subway sign design. You know what? Fuck it. I'm Googling it.
All right, so let's get back to 6. So they have to cross the river of death, right? Or they shouldn't cross the river of death because he asked, which way to head west or whatever, and he says just head east, don't even bother. So they head out. Ellie's making jokes about how scary it is because it's just wide open valley, nothing's going on or anything like that. Come to find out that river wasn't the river they were talking about. There was a little blip with the production team, I guess, that was found too, where they pan out and they show them walking over the bridge. And one of the pan out scenes, if you look to the far bottom left area, snowed area, you can see some of the production team in the tree line and stuff. But I mean, hey, they're like, what do you?
Until
Yeah,
they talked about it.
exactly. Like you're not gonna pick up on stuff like that.
Usually they do. I failed.
But I think they were so far this way on the
Yeah.
they were so far.
I mean,
You were looking what's there.
Did you know that Subway used to be called Pete's Subs?
No.
No.
Apparently, it used to be called Pete's Super Submarines from 1965 to 1968.
Thank God it didn't stick with that name.
Then it became Pete's Subs in 1968 to 1970.
Yeah, because someone wanted to say submarines.
And then Pete's Subway, 1970 1972. And then 1972 it became Subway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you have subs,
Screw Pete.
hoagies.
Grinders.
Yeah.
I find it really
Don't
fucking
say
funny.
that
It's
word.
like in the Midwest or something, like they call it grinders. I think it's fucking hysterical.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same with like pop, cola,
You mean soda?
Mm-hmm. Pop.
When I was in Chicago last year, do you know how hard it was every time I ordered a Coke? They're like, pop. I'm like,
Wait a minute. At Pi, I think you have a spelling error. It should be porn, not prawn. Pete's subs, sandwiches, and porn. Maybe in Finland it's called prawn. I'm not sure.
no, a lot of people type prawn to avoid getting pinged by
Are you
getting in
serious?
trouble for something.
Are
Yeah,
you serious?
it was
I'm gonna
it dates all the way back to AOL chat room days.
Pi does not give a crap. She will type
Yeah.
it. It was a typo.
See, she
Oh.
said YouTube doesn't like it when certain.
Well,
words are
they'll
spelled.
flag it on our end, and we have to accept it. But anyway, so
Sorry, my results are inconclusive. I can't find anything about 2003 Subways. So
besides the
I
fact
think
that
they, I'm gonna say that they were pretty accurate because they were talking about it in the podcast about how the signs in the mall they had because they couldn't use them in the game. They had to use off brands in the game. Then they could use in the mall. They could
The
actually use
licenses.
American Girl and things like that. So I think they're accurate.
that's cool.
Anyway.
I'll trust them on that. Okay, I'll trust them.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All right, back to 6. Sorry.
yeah. So I mean, we did get the introduction of a dog. We finally saw a dog in action. So so in the video game,
Was
there.
it the dog?
Well, it wasn't the dog. Yeah, we won't talk about that dog. This dog, it's I think it was named. It had the same name as the dog in the video game and everything, I believe.
I forgot the name.
The one that, yeah, it's like the one that Joel pets. He's like a little dog, but I think he had this. I think his name was the same name as that dog. So they see you, they utilizing the dogs like they do in the video games. I mean, they use them to, smaller groups like this don't have the technology of, like the government people to sit there and use those scanners or whatever. So they have the dogs trained to, I guess, smell and sniff out the cordyceps infection. And if you're infected, then you get eaten or shot, or both, shot and then eaten. Well, maybe eaten and then shot. Who knows?
Gotta feed the dog.
Yeah, I gotta feed the dog. So
in the chat, they're kind of talking about something, and I actually had notes on this.
What's that?
Can I take it away?
Yeah, go.
So talking about the acknowledging or the existence of periods. Now, the female menstruation, that type period, not the end of a sentence period. This isn't the first time the show has acknowledged it.
Right.
Because in episode 3, Ellie found tampons.
Yep.
But in this episode, Maria gave her a menstrual cup.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you think about it, it's pretty fucking genius. Because tampons and pads are going to run out. Menstrual cups, you can just keep reusing that damn thing until it breaks.
Mm-hmm.
The guys are squirming, and I'm loving this.
Yay.
I definitely didn't think we were going to touch upon menstruation tonight, but here we are.
Here we are.
Hey, they brought it up in the series.
But
we're covering the episode.
Yeah.
Right, but if you want to talk about cycles and periods, which was another mention of the moon phases and the cycles, on how they sync with each other. So
they wanted to get away from that topic so badly. They did anything they could.
What's that? I need a refill already?
Oh, wow. Damn. All right, hold on. So do I. Hold on.
Oh, my phone's for you. I'm gonna take it. It's work.
Do you guys
left the
Go
stove
back
on,
to the
actually.
hangover.
Yeah.
Really fucked up.
So she wants to. Do you? Zay says, do you guys trust Tom? Yeah. I mean, that's Joel's brother. I mean, I trust Tommy. I think that obviously Joel's very happy to see his brother. In the video game, I believe they don't have like this type of meeting. I think in the video game, Tommy like greets him at the gate, I think, where they come in, and it's like a very casual, like, obviously because of the video game, it's like, I know him, that's my brother kind of thing. Where here you can see how happy Joel is to finally see his brother again. He, like, yells Tommy across the village there.
Because in the game, he knew where Tommy was. In the show, he didn't.
Right. Yeah.
I half expected the slow motion prancing to each other into each other's arms.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah, exactly.
Little Baywatch
The old
going.
Baywatch.
Like you stated, Meg.
Where you at?
Like you stated, the village already has power and everything like that, so they're already showing future and season 2 kind of in a season 2 view,
Celebrating Christmas.
Yeah.
All decked out.
In the game, it was fall.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and you could have like a snowball fight and all that stuff and everything.
I love that in the second game.
But I mean, you could also like see Ellie. Like Ellie's like she's seeing other kids for the first time in a while that are her age. There's children, and there's one child in a wheelchair that you see in the background. So like, you get to see, this place is housing, a lot of different type of people and everything. So I think she said it. What'd she say? She as they're talking about the whole village and everything like that, she goes, I think she says, and it actually fucking works or something like that. She was just really taken aback by how, I guess you could say, you get that false sense of safety. Like we've learned in the apocalypse, when you see places like this and they have big tall walls and they have like all this protection and everything like that. Obviously, I have a false sense of security because everything that we've seen off of other shows like The Walking Dead, Fear, you name it, you're never really safe for that long. It gives you that same type of like, oh, we could stay here, we could make a life here kind of feeling, and stuff. So, and obviously they've been doing it for a while. This isn't Atlanta. This isn't, like any other places we've seen. This is out in the middle of freaking Wyoming, like in the middle of the mountains.
Middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Like, he, like Joel says, how are you able to keep it so quiet? It's like, well, we're able to keep it so quiet because we're like a needle in a haystack out here,
Yeah.
you know. So you know, that's kind of fun. Sorry.
I liked when they're starting to walk through the town. You see like on the flagpoles, it actually says like Jackson, Wyoming something fair or something, 2003.
Yeah.
And it kind of like makes you stop and think for a second, like, wow, these flags have been up for 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's still pretty damn good.
And it's like part of this reoccurring theme that like civilization really did stop in 2003,
Yeah.
and it's a cool thing. It's like we know it did, but it's a cool little gentle reminder each episode to say like, hey, like life kind of froze, and
Exactly.
people went from thriving to surviving, and there wasn't really time for the niceties of life. It was on necessities only, and now we start to see things like the mall. We see things like Tommy's community, where it's like they're starting to enjoy things that like they're watching movies. And I know we hate to do it, but I'm gonna say it reminded me of like the Commonwealth, right? Like it was like this weird little like isolationist feeling that like the events of the past 20 years haven't happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
No, I was
such a
thinking the
weird
same
feeling.
thing, but with Alexandria.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was as creepy as Commonwealth, though. The Commonwealth, that was just too like Stepford feeling, you know?
Yeah, like if it looks too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah. No, think about it. You get to shower, you get to eat a real meal.
Mm-hmm.
Renee, you're freezing.
Well,
Yeah.
I know. My internet's acting up.
There was
you might have 80-degree weather, but our internet's better.
So there was also another reference to Last of Us Part 2. When they talk about the horse and they name it and they said it's Shimmer.
Shimmer, yes.
That's the name of Ellie's horse in the second game.
Yes.
So I was like, Shimmer.
That's cool.
Shimmer.
Yeah, I learned that too. The other day, watching it, went there and I did a little background on it and found out that it's the same horse she uses in the second game. Speaking of that, have you heard anything on who they're going to try to cast for Abby?
Mm-hmm.
You have? Okay.
I've been hearing a lot.
Yeah, I've been trying to dig up info on who they're going to go with that, but I mean,
it's not confirmed. It's all rumors.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you who it is. I just have to do a quick Google search. I don't remember her name.
Is it Ronda Rousey?
No.
No.
God, no.
Okay, because I heard she was might be one of the people, and I
One
think
second.
primarily because of her build.
No.
Interesting.
You're hearing the clicking clacking because I have that little keyboard.
That's okay.
Okay, here it is. They think it is going to be an actress named Shannon Berry. Once again, also because of her build, and also because one of the biggest reasons they think it is because Neil Druckmann followed her on Instagram.
Oh. Okay.
Scandalous.
Scandalous. Well, because Abby plays such a huge role in the second game that you need somebody that is going to be on the same level as Ellie is, or should I say, as Bella is. So there's not many actors that can get on that level. And I mean, I know I'm jumping ahead here of episode 7, but Storm Reed matched that perfectly. So they have to get somebody of that similar caliber that can intimidate Ellie.
Right.
So I've never heard of Shannon Berry, but based on the look, I would not want to mess with her.
Interesting. Pull it up, Rye.
I'm not curious what she's been in, if I recognize her from anything.
Yeah. So I
didn't look up her IMDb at all.
I see in the chat we're talking about Tommy's wife. Right? Is that what I see? Is that Regina?
Maria.
Yeah, she played. So she played. Yeah, she was also in The Walking Dead. But yeah, so I mean, I don't know how we feel about her. I don't know. I kind of feel like. So we find out that they're married. We find out that she's pregnant, and that's why Tommy doesn't want to. He's basically telling Joel like, I can't. I won't do this. I'm not going to go with you. I can't do that. Whatever. And he basically tells Joel like, because your life, my life didn't have to stop because yours did, basically. you know. And that's a hard pill to swallow, you know, especially like for a brother to brother kind of thing. I mean, you know, kind of like I don't want to say a jerk statement to make, but, you know, a little bit insensitive. I feel like it came out a little insensitive.
I think Tommy's kind of a dick.
Yeah, he's coming off as kind of like selfish.
Yeah.
You know, blood thicker than water type thing. But
and I mean, especially when they were talking at the bar, and Joel was like, you know, is she the reason, talking about his wife, or, you know,
why you stopped talking to me? On the radio?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, that's their rules. And I'll tell you right now, if that was my brother or my sister, I'll be damned if your fucking rules are going to get in the way of me fucking talking to my family. Zombie apocalypse or not, I could give a fuck less. It's my family.
Yeah.
You know, so I saw that, and I felt that kind of like pissed me off, because I'm just like, well, you clearly don't give a fuck then. You kind of said, well, I got my life I wanted. Fuck him. You know, he could have been dead all this time, and you never would have known.
Yeah.
It's been how long? You know, it's been months.
Sadly, right? That does tend to happen in these sort of situations. Like, remember, I know we hate to do this, but remember in Walking Dead when Noah went to go try to find his family?
Yeah.
Think of it that way. You have no clue if they're dead or alive.
Right.
Yeah.
Say wants to know if you have a favorite scene from episode 6. I mean, the beginning scenes were really good. I think besides that, my favorite, I think when Joel's teaching her how to shoot the rifle, it's another funny comical moment where she's complaining that the gun is off and it doesn't shoot right, and it's a scope and it's this and that, and then Joel takes it, shoots it.
She's like, you dick.
But I think my favorite part is that when they pan away with them on the horse, it zooms in on what they shot, and it says asshole with a big hole in the middle. I just thought that was hysterical. I don't know. I thought it was a little fun play on the whole asshole with a hole in it. So yeah, but that's just me.
You don't know loss, without a doubt. How to think about that one.
Yeah. Okay.
Just because of how beautifully it was executed. Ryan and Renee?
I the same scene for me, 1,000%. You get me with a good laugh, and I told Chris, I said, you know, what it reminded me of was Abigail Breslin and Woody Harrelson in Zombieland. When they're sitting after they killed Bill Murray, and they're sitting there, and he's like trying to tell her how to shoot, and she keeps missing, and it just, I don't know, it reminded me of that, and I'll what, damn it, Pie. No, that's one of my favorite movies, like zombie movie or not. It's one of my favorite movies. I watch it all the time if I need a good laugh, and it just, the minute I saw that, it's the first thing I thought of, and I was like, I love this scene.
I'm trying to. Ryan, you said, do you think it's a reason Ellie is immune? How many more people do you think? What do you mean? What reason Ellie is immune? Did I miss something somewhere? Do you think it's a reason Ellie is immune? And how many more people out there could be immune?
I think
Renee, what was your favorite scene? I'm sorry, Ryan.
No, you're good. No, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, Renee, go ahead.
I'm gonna think about this one.
I like when they came up and met when the dog, and I was like, when the dog was sniffing Ellie, I was like, my heart was in my chest. I was like, what's gonna happen? Because, you know, you don't know what's gonna happen. We all know, you know, she's got something going on, but is the dog gonna, you know, figure it out? And you could tell Joel had froze, like he was completely frozen.
Yeah.
He didn't know what to do, and then all of a sudden you hear the dog over there with her, and she's laughing and giggling, and you know, I just thought that, because I was like, seriously, I was very anxious about what was going to happen in that scene, so I thought it was really fun, you know, that she just was petting the puppy and no big deal.
Did you think about, did it make you think of the first episode when Joel beat that guy to death?
No, I guess no, because he froze. I just thought he wasn't going to be able to do anything. You could tell he was scared to death about, like, he didn't know what to do. And I think, you know, like I explained earlier about how he's slowly starting to learn more about her and things like that, and you can tell that was a moment where I think he was probably thinking about Sarah and how he couldn't save Sarah. How am I going to save her? So.
Yeah, and I mean they hint so many times, like, you know, they fall asleep. Joel tells her, he'll take the whole night or watch the whole night or whatever. And then the morning comes and he's passed out. He wakes up and Ellie's been awake. She's got the rifle. And so, they keep, then he starts having like I guess I'm going to say like anxious kind of chest pains and waves that are coming over him and everything. Mm-hmm. And then he admits to Tommy that, I froze, when those guys are around us. I couldn't do anything. There was nothing I could do. I felt helpless kind of thing, where he can't save Ellie, like he can't protect mm-hmm. her, which is his main reason for asking Tommy to do it for him. So like we know that. So compare that to the game, Meg. In the game, does Joel have as many elements as they make him have in the show?
It's actually funny that you mentioned that, because I actually had that in my notes. In the game, he doesn't have panic attacks. While he is afraid for Ellie, for the similar reasons that he mentioned to Tommy, he does not have these episodes, quote unquote. So we don't really see that, but he does have obviously PTSD from losing Sarah, and now also losing Tess. Basically, everyone he loves is dying, which is kind of similar to what Ellie was saying. So it's different, but it's similar.
Okay, all right.
Because Ryan clarified in the chat. He says, do you think something happened to Ellie growing up that caused her to be immune? I'm just trying to figure out how she's immune. He believes there's more out there who are immune also.
And I see Meg going crazy right now.
I don't know if it's true, but I have a theory.
Before we dive in,
I have a theory too, Meg, and I don't even know anything.
Before we dive into Meg's textual evidence as she recites subsection C, paragraph D, letter 5F, before we get there.
Do we have 4 hours to talk about this?
My theory is very simple. So Ellie is how old?
14.
14. She was born 6 years after the outbreak, right? My theory is that when people are exposed from an early age to something, they tend to build immunities towards it. I think that you're going to see more people Ellie's age, a little bit younger, maybe a little bit older, who have some kind of immunity or tolerance to the virus because they were born after the outbreak. It's it's already out and about. It's already exposed to people. God knows how. Like whether it's in the air, however it's there, it's exposed. It's out there. So that's my feeling, is that you're going to see more people like Ellie who are either completely immune to it or some kind of tolerance to it.
Okay, Meg.
I want to hear Renee first.
Oh,
well, it's just kind of so in the podcast they refer to, so it's, if you don't listen to it's like an accompaniment podcast. If you guys don't listen to it, it's the showrunners and Mason and what's his name?
Druckmann or Drunkman?
Druckmann.
Yes, thank you.
Druckmann.
And then it's Troy Baker who talked Joel in the he hosts it. Who talk Joel in the game. So they, go into all this, and they'll mention things, and then they backpedal because wait a minute, we don't want to say that to spoil things for people. So they keep talking about this cut on Ellie's on her eyebrow that they don't want to talk about. So I feel like like something happened to her, and maybe it is a birth thing, because that makes sense too. But I just wonder if something happened to her at one time, since she was born after all this started happening. So I wonder if that cut has something to do with it, because she won't talk about it and they won't talk about it, in the conversations. Well,
wasn't there a line between her and her friend in episode 7?
Yeah, about the eyebrow.
Where she was like, before I lose my other eyebrow or something similar. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely something there that
Yeah, and then so in the podcast they mentioned it, they backpedaled from it, we're not going to talk about that. So that's just my little theory. All right, Meg, you're on.
See, I'm starting to think my theory might be wrong because I'm getting my information mixed up.
Uh-oh.
I'm slacking here.
See, there's something to be said about Kiss, right? Keep it simple, stupid. and I'm stupid, and I kept it simple. Keep it
simple.
Meg's got textual evidence. Your Honor, Exhibit 12C. This is what it says. This is from the game. It's
No,
confirmed
so
in the show.
It had been so long. For some reason, I had it in my head that okay, God, I don't know if this is a spoiler. No, it's not really a spoiler. So obviously, everybody's parents dies. It's just fact. Ellie's mom died a couple of days or within like a day or two of giving birth to Ellie. For some reason, I don't know why, I had it in my head that Ellie's mom got bit before she gave birth. I don't know why I had that in my head. So my theory was that because Ellie was still in the womb, there was her, protection. But I was trying to Google it just to double check myself, and I can't seem to find any information on it except for the fact that she did die. So that's why I don't think my theory is correct.
Maybe
But it would have made sense.
That was a cool theory, though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think Ryan's is the most plausible, though. That makes
Absolutely.
and that goes with what the other Ryan in the chat's saying, that they'll find more that are immune.
Yeah.
So.
I personally think that she's allergic to gluten, and then
Yeah. It's always gluten.
Well, I mean,
But if you think about it, when she was
some
eating,
damn
there was
baguettes,
pie. There was pie, and she was going to give him seconds.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it was the flour. It was all the flour. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
it's been 20 years.
we'll bring it right back to Deadpool, right?
I wonder. Well, that says maybe she's taking some kind
Stop with Deadpool.
of medical.
No, remember what Deadpool said? He goes, "I'm back from sending all the gluten to space, where it could never hurt us ever again." You know?
Where's Deadpool when we need him?
I know.
Right?
Oh man, good old Deadpool. He'll always save.
Shall we dive into episode 7?
He'll always save the day.
Before-
I mean,
Makes us so excited about 7.
well, so no, because I mean, I want to talk about the ending, obviously, of 6 and how much
Oh
we
my
gotta
God,
do
I
that
heard about that. I'm sorry.
it was different from the game. It was obviously a pretty big sway away from the game on how they did it. We did get to see the introduction of the monkeys, though, like we did in the game. And then obviously while they're inside searching in the game, I believe there's quite a few of the clickers I think you have to kill or something. Is that right when they get to the university?
Yeah. I don't remember if it's a runner or a clicker.
Yeah. So when they get, I do know that there is a little bit more action inside the university where they're at, with as far as that goes compared to what they did in the show. And I know that that's also been another one of the big gripes is like you're not seeing a lot of that live action fighting and everything else that plays out in the game. There's been a few stages in the show where there's a lot more action in each scene in the game that took place, obviously, with the show. Who knows if that's just for the pure fact, like I said, they're telling a story. They're telling more of a story than you could with a video game. So you're filling more of your time building the human connection. And, who knows? I mean, just kind of like where I'm at with it. I haven't, like I said, obviously I've only watched the game. I haven't played it. So maybe once I do play it, I might change my opinion a little bit. But as far as the ending goes, how different do you recall, Meg? Because I mean, they're attacked. They're attacked, I think, when by raiders, right, or whatever they want to call themselves when they're in the university.
Yeah.
They come across the Firefly signs. Obviously, they go to the university. They find it's in complete disarray.
Which, by the way, I want to point out, I think those raiders are not going to play any important part. I don't think that they're going to be anyone that we're going to see down the road. I think it was to drive home the point that Tommy made, that there's a lot of dangers out there in between there and where he's got to go. And it's anybody from infected to raiders. And he made that point. So I think it was to drive home the point that, like, we hate to do it, but The Walking Dead taught us, right?
Yeah.
Fight the dead, fear the living kind of thing. And the raiders are willing to kill to get what they need. And I think that's what we saw. They had no particular thing. They saw the horse. They knew somebody was there. And that's when they decided to attack, to take advantage, to loot as best they could. And I think that's what we saw.
Yeah.
So I don't think because I know Zay had asked earlier on who they were. I think they were just a random group of raiders. I don't think they had any important part except for driving that point home.
Right.
Sorry.
See,
No, it's okay.
I think they're part of a certain crew that we're going to meet next week.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, this is the crew that they've been hinting at now. I think in the game has had timeline wise from the show to the game. Are they following an accurate timeline still, or did this crew of people already appear by now?
No, the crew didn't appear by now because the thing is, in the show, we're in winter. In the game, they didn't arrive in Wyoming until fall, so they jumped ahead a few months.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because the thing is, I'm not getting into episode 7. I'm just simply stating. It goes. I just want to make that clear. So the game goes, leading up. Joel gets injured, goes to the DLC, which is episode 7, and then goes back to the present day.
Okay.
So that's why this episode happened, or episode 7 happened when it happened, because it needed to. But so they are a little ahead in the show, but it's not enough where it's really going to make a difference. The person that I was referring to in next week's episode is appearing in the proper timeline, so they, for all intents and purposes, they're on the right track.
Okay. All right.
We're in the last few hours. We're in like the last 6 hours of the game now.
Wow. Okay. I want to. Ryan says I'm immune to the bubonic plague because I'm not 900 years old. Yeah. Let me see. Chris protests too much. My theory is that Chris is secretly in love with Deadpool. It's possible. Thank you, Ryan. I do. Why did Joel decide to take Ellie in The Last of Us?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah. So he was just to clarify for people that didn't know, Joel was taking Ellie. His whole purpose was to get her to the Fireflies because they're supposed to test her and hopefully find a cure, right? So that was why.
But
I think instead of Tommy taking her, why did Joel decide to do it? And I think there was just pure guilt. Like, she tells him, "You're the only person who hasn't left me yet. Like, you're the only one who's been able to like stick around. You're the only one I haven't lost." So,
and she feels safest with him.
Yeah, and he sits there and he actually, there's a flashback to Sarah, where he's sitting in the room and he's just thinking, and they flash, Sarah's, face and everything across the screen as he's thinking about her. He's, whether he likes it or not, his bond with her is growing, and she's becoming, I don't want to say she's becoming his daughter, but she's becoming a part of his, his life, like a father figure would. At the end, obviously, we see him get into the fight with the one guy. The baseball bat handle ends up being lodged into his side, which I would have never pulled that out, me personally.
Yeah. I mean, you leave EMS 101.
Yeah, you leave the
That's
object.
what I said in that scene. I'm like, you don't pull that out.
Yeah, you leave the object. Anybody out there, you leave the object in the wound until you can get proper care.
Any kind of penetrating injury, do not pull it out.
Hey.
You heard it?
Hey. Ryan said penetrating.
Well, that's what it's called in EMS. It's called a penetrating injury.
Sure.
You worked at a hospital, you know that.
That's what she said.
You worked at a Trump.
Good one, Meg.
When you have a penetrating injury, don't pull out.
That's the rule of thumb. When you've been penetrated, leave it in.
Otherwise, you start going.
Penetration.
Yeah. Otherwise, you just gush everywhere. Oh my goodness. Right off.
Whose idea was it to give me vodka?
Right, mine.
Yeah.
Right off the rails.
I think we should always do the show when Pookie's had vodka.
Right.
I like this.
Vodka is my go-to. Oh my god.
In the game, though, he doesn't get stabbed. He falls on a rebar, Rick Grimes style.
AKA Rick Grimes.
That's probably why they didn't do it. They're probably like, no. There's too many parallels. We're not doing it.
In Walking Dead, the rebar is like close to the ground. In the game, he falls off of like a railing, and the rebar's on the ground. Like him, he was fighting the bandit, and that's they tumble off and stab. The penetration occurs.
Yes. Yes, it does.
That's what Ryan said. Sorry, guys, I'm pulling my wood out.
Pi has officially found out where Wyoming is, and it's not on the east.
It is
far,
not.
mid far west there.
Very far away.
Yeah,
It's west by Midwest.
Yeah, exactly.
These guests.
Yeah.
Wyoming. So I'm trying to think. That's 3,000 miles from the East Coast, from where they started.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to think what's 3,000 miles in Europe.
How
That's
long would it
like
take to
15
walk
countries.
3,000 miles?
To what? Well, they've gone 3 weeks already. So no, 3 months. They had a 3-month jump.
So they started in Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and they had a 3-month time jump. So
And now they're in
We
Wyoming.
spent like a stupid amount of time, like in Pittsburgh and such.
yeah. Well, in the
But
video game, they're in
in-
Pittsburgh, right?
Right, but in the show
Yeah.
it was Kansas
Kansas
City.
City. So actually, technically, they weren't in Boston. They were in Kansas City. Kansas City to Wyoming.
Well, no, it's still Joel started in Boston.
Right. No, I'm talking about the timeline, the 3-month timeline from when they were in Kansas
Oh yeah, from Kansas
to
City.
Wyoming. So I could see that. Yeah, you could probably walk that easily in 3 months.
So to put it in perspective, right? Pi's in Finland, is that correct?
Yeah.
So the United Arab Emirates is about 2,900 miles from Finland. So that's how far Wyoming is from Boston.
Okay.
I love all this research that we do.
For the record, at a straight walk without stopping to get from Boston, Massachusetts to the middle, I just did it in the middle of Wyoming, it would take 27 days and 21 hours.
Okay. So they're saying
So what
3.
have they been doing for 3 months?
Well, you gotta.
But
number
the
one,
thing
you
about
gotta
stopping,
you gotta sleep. You gotta eat. You gotta scavenge. You know, like it's.
That makes sense.
They don't have transportation besides their own feet.
I
So
mean,
you gotta.
say realistically,
They had a truck for a while.
you're
Well,
probably
yeah.
only
They gave
able.
that up in Wyoming.
No,
Not Wyoming.
the
I'm
truck
sorry,
was
Kansas
in
City.
Kansas City. Yeah.
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 Realistically speaking, to not kill yourself, you would have to probably do at a max probably 8 to 10 hours of walking a day to a lot for looting, sleeping,
Sure.
you know,
Eating.
exactly.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking like 8 to 10 hours a day at max, and that's to not kill yourself.
Plus the time of year they're doing this.
Yeah,
so this
true.
is. I mean,
True.
you gotta
Older by the
incorporate
day.
the time of year. So you
Yeah.
gotta stay warm. There's no shelter.
Yeah.
Get
So
some clothes.
yeah, clothes. So yeah, I mean, look, could you spread it out to 3 months? I think so. Yeah.
They're not really on a timeline. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
Just so you know,
I
there's
need
no.
her here by morning. There's no overnight shipping.
Just so you know, there's no train that takes you from
Ah.
Boston, Mass, to the middle of Wyoming. Just so
Yeah,
you know, there's just in case anyone wants to know, there's no train.
Yeah.
The American shuttle system sucks.
Yeah. We don't have trains anymore. Not like Europe.
Well, we do. They just derail. But
Yeah.
that's a story for
Well,
another day.
that's, yeah. We're gonna talk
We're
about
not gonna go
that.
there.
We're not gonna talk about Pete Buttigieg's whatever Buttigieg's problem. All right. So episode 7, Meg. We made it to 7.
All right, Meg.
So 7 starts
Meg's like,
where
my time is
we
shot.
7 starts where we left off. Joel is obviously still injured. Ellie has managed to hook onto the horse and drag him. I'm guessing it's the only way you're going to move him. It's not like she's going to be able to physically move him, so I'm going to assume that she hooked him up to the horse somehow and dragged him to this house that they're at. Put him in the basement on the mattress, which is right out of the video game. And there's a comic too, right? That went with it too. Then they do like a comic.
American Dreams.
Yeah, American Dream. So that I
You
think.
can buy that actually at Barnes and Noble.
Okay, good to know.
That's a prequel to. I think it's a prequel to the DLC. I think.
Right. So let's explain to everybody too that episode 7 is based on the DLC.
Yes.
This was extra downloaded content from the game.
It came out a year after the game came out.
Right.
So in 2014.
So episode 7 was like think about like if you're playing Call of Duty and you buy like the extended maps and all the skins and all the other shit. So this is like this is basically buying a new section of the video game that you could play and download and play. So this whole thing, Meg, you've been really looking forward to this, I think, because of the
Yes.
relationship that they show us that Ellie has. So I mean, 7 to you, was it worthwhile? Was it
It was
parallel to the game?
it was beautifully done. There was a couple of things they changed. There was some new original material, but it was definitely up there in my, I want to say maybe top 4
Okay.
out of 7.
Okay.
I don't want to say top 5 because I feel like that's bad because there's only 7 episodes so far.
Right.
But it's definitely up there.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would. I think if I were to rate it, I don't know if I could. One obviously is to me still because it's one.
Oh yeah.
I think top 4. Yeah, I think it can fit top 4. Honestly, tell you the truth.
Wait, which one was episode 5? Which one was that? Because either
Episode
4
5.
or 5.
5 had the bloater.
Yeah,
in it,
5 had the bloater. That's like my number 2.
I think that's my number 1 and 5 are like
Yeah.
neck and neck for the number 1 slot.
Right.
So whatever one takes that, the other one is obviously 2.
Right.
So I'd have to say this is probably my 3rd favorite episode. So definitely top 3.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna say
No,
4 or
wait.
5.
No,
Because you got
episode 2.
you got
takes the
Frank
third
and
place
Frank and
spot.
Bill too. I mean, that was a good episode
So-
in my opinion.
1 and 5. We're just gonna say that's 1 and 2.
Mm.
Episode 2, 7, 3. What was 4?
4 was after Bill and Frank, right?
After Bill and Frank. Yeah, what was that one?
So 4, 3, 6.
Okay, so 6 is
What was 4? Yeah,
I
what
don't
was
remember. I just remember it was with the jokes, and I remember the car scene. I remember I loved the episode, but I
Yeah.
don't remember.
Oh, it was the what's her name? Kathleen.
Yeah,
Oh yes, okay. So
the
that
introduction
was
of Kathleen, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I put like 3 and 7 are my least favorite. I mean, I like they're fine episodes. They're just not. I like the action, you know. So
Sure.
I
Yeah.
put them at
You
the end,
liked
you
episode
know.
1 and 2. I remember you
Yeah.
saying.
So it's hard. Yeah.
3 and 6 were definitely my least favorites. So they're definitely the bottom slots.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Um,
we got to go back to see the origins of no puns intended.
Yeah.
The comic book that she's reading. You know, a lot of stuff that's pulled directly from the source material.
Oh my
It's the
God.
same exact comic. You know, it's everything right out of the game. So.
there's a lot of differences too.
Oh yeah, no, there definitely is. So I know you have notes. Is there anything you want to start on specifically, or?
No, I just want to go through all of them.
Okay, so what do you got? Let's
We'll
start.
start with some little follow.
Yeah.
All right. So the biggest change, this definitely has to do with episode 6 because it ties into it. So obviously episode 6 ends with Ellie dragging Joel to the house.
Mm-hmm.
In the game, they go to an abandoned mall.
Okay.
So that's the biggest change. So I'm just going to read off straight my notes. So the biggest change is that Ellie doesn't go to the mall in the present day and instead uses the basement of a house. In the game, Ellie fights off raiders from the same group that attacked them in the university.
Mm-hmm.
This leads Ellie to recall a memory of the last time she was at a mall, aka the events of Left Behind DLC,
Mm-hmm.
which happens just a few weeks before the events of Last of Us started.
Okay.
However, in the show, she just goes to another room to find supplies, and he's telling her, "Oh, leave me," and she's recalling the last time she lost someone, which was Riley. So I feel like even though they diverted it instead of the mall, they
Mhm.
brought it back beautifully and they tied it in because I was really curious on how they were going to do that. So that was the biggest change. The whole scene with Ellie in gym class and Bethany torturing her,
Mhm.
that's all new original. We never get to see that.
You don't see it, but you hear about how she was teased, right? Don't you? Because that's why
you do hear about it.
Riley
Yeah,
is the one who always did the fighting.
Yeah, so Riley basically beats the people up for her. But the Walkman that Ellie uses in the show, in the first game, we do get to play Ellie for a little bit while Joel is, incapacitated or
Mhm,
whatever the
mhm.
word is. And in her belongings, we get to see that she has that exact same Walkman. So
Oh,
that was a
that's
nice
cool.
little thing. And also the conversation with Ellie talking to the Fedra agent about her leadership potential. We don't see any of that.
Okay.
Feel free to shut me up at any time because I got 1, 2, 3, 4.
You're no good.
4 more differences.
We'll
5
discuss
more
it.
differences.
Right,
Okay.
keep going.
When Ellie and Riley find the dead body in one of the QZ buildings, Neil Druckmann confirmed that he and the director specifically created that for the show. Why? I have no clue. Renee probably has that answer because she listens to the podcast and I haven't yet. Riley's 5 wonders are in a different order. It was supposed to be 4, but the escalator was a bonus wonder.
Mm-hmm.
In the show, it went merry-go-round, photo booth, arcade, and the costume store. In the game, they goof off with the masks much earlier than anything in the list. And it doesn't happen in the Halloween store. It happens in a generic electronics store, which would have been like something like GameStop or something.
Mm-hmm.
This pissed me off. There was no water pistol fight because it was one of the most memorable moments. Because after Riley tells Ellie she's leaving, they perk themselves up by having a little pew-pew water fight. This one I thought was really cool. I didn't know this. In the show, Ellie has a poster, which we kind of talked about, of Mortal Kombat 2, and she finally gets to play the game, which is also a nod to episode 3, to when she sees the Mortal Kombat arcade cabinet.
Right.
In the game, it's a fake game called The Turning, because obviously licenses, you know, all that.
Right.
But, so the really cool thing is Neil Druckmann has confirmed that they chose Mortal Kombat 2 because that was the game that inspired that entire scene.
Okay.
That's so cool. Since they were able to do it in the show, same with using Victoria's Secret, Subway, whatever logo Subway has.
It's not been confirmed yet.
Not been confirmed. But just the fact they got to get away with using all these things and like using the American Girl doll store or American Girl store versus American Princess, which I'll get into that later. So it's just really cool they got to bring that moment to life. And the I Got You Babe scene is in a I did talk about that. Okay, never mind. And that's the end of my differences.
Okay.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, okay, no, okay, there we go. I did get to the one.
But wait, there's more.
Oh, wait, there's more.
Oh, wait, there's more. That's just the differences.
Yeah.
Well, so keep going. What else do you got? Come on, man.
Let's hear it.
Okay.
Come on, man.
You asked for it. Remember that.
Yeah, let's go.
The comparison.
Not if we need to. It's all right.
Yeah.
The comparisons. Ellie, you just wanted me to get through it, so I shut up the rest of the show.
She figured us out.
I quit.
What?
Ellie sitting with Joel in the basement is the same as in the game. Ellie holding a knife to Riley when she comes sneaking in the back room or back into the bedroom. That's the same. The Walkman, I already talked about that. The merry-go-round and the photo booth are like shot for shot. Raj's arcade, very same place, which I thought was also really cool because it's a nod to Uncharted, which is my favorite game series, and Raja was the name of the bad guy in the first game.
Okay.
The masks in the Halloween store, the show purposely created them to make them look identical to how they were in the game, and where Ellie and Riley were both fit, along with talking about options 1 and 2. Those are the comparisons.
Yeah.
And then I got 2 miscellaneous, but I'm holding off on that because I got a big rant.
Okay, so we're holding
And
off.
one of them, Chris and I kind of talked about earlier.
Yes. Oh, okay. All right. So as far as the episode goes, the introduction of Riley and everything, it's nice to see, I guess, this part play out, aside from like watching someone play this, in a video game or whatever. Once again, showing like the relationship development between the two. Riley, I guess, mentions something to Ellie about, the fight because she got the black eye and everything that, kind of like tries to tell her like, you can't do that type of thing or whatever. And she sits, Ellie kind of like boasts. She's like, well, she's the one with 15 stitches, kind of thing. So, Ellie is a little badass. The one part, so they come across that dead body as they're going through the town and everything like that. They avoid the truck with the spotlight. The guards are driving around, but then they get to that dead body that's in that hallway, and next to him, there's a bottle of alcohol, but then there's a bag of pills. You look at those bag of pills. That bag of pills looks just like the bag of pills that Joel was selling to the Fedra guards. Like, they're the same shape, same color, same everything.
Interesting.
So
Who knows that?
yeah, so I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, did Joel sell this guy these pills, and like, is he responsible for this guy's death because he took the pills and drank and pretty much committed suicide? But yeah, if you look at the pills, if you go back to episode 1, where Joel's giving the Fedra guard the pills, and you look at the pills that are on the floor in the bag, it's the same type of bag, same pill. So I was like, oh, Joel, what are you doing? You know, but he does bad things for money. So
See, that's why I love having these conversations with you guys about this, because while I'll pick up like differences, Chris like dives deep into that sort of comparison, and I love that because so many people probably didn't notice that.
No, I totally didn't notice that.
Yeah,
and I thought in that scene it was very interesting how Ellie was so nonchalant about the death.
Oh yeah,
how Riley handled that dead body and how Ellie did. Ellie hasn't witnessed anyone. She's never had anyone close to her die.
Yeah.
You know, Riley saw her parents die, you know, so Ellie was laughing and kind of not big deal. You know, to see this dead body didn't mean anything to her because she's never had to experience that. And so it was interesting seeing the two of them, their different reactions to that.
Very weird to see her be so nonchalant about it. I was just like, wow, it's just a strange reaction.
Right, to see like a 14-year-old, like think of a 14-year-old you know right now. If they saw a dead body, they would have a very different reaction to that, you know. And you know, to see her just be like, you know, no big deal.
She is a little psycho. So
It's funny you said that, because think about episode 1 when we watched Joel beat the crap out of that guy. Remember the look on her face. She loved that somebody was fighting for her and not fighting at her. So her, you know, witnessing death isn't so far off, but now we know because she has seen, you know, death happen in front of her.
Yeah, and I mean, they also to continue the showing of her, like, I guess, excitement over Riley, you know, her gun. You know, can I see your gun? Can I hold your gun? She has like, she is drawn to anything that is that gives power.
Yeah.
You know, that gives like it, like guns. Obviously, you think about it, like having a gun in your hand and you have it over a crowd of people, you have power.
Yeah.
Anytime she's, you know, she always, her eyes get real big, like, you know, like, oh, this is a gun. Like, it's kind of, it's just, to me, it's like anything that symbolizes power to her, because she's always been on the other end of getting her ass kicked and everything.
Yeah, she's attracted to it.
Yeah, she's attracted to having that edge, that power. So.
Well, these people, everybody she looks up to has a gun, has a, you know what I mean? You know, the people she looks up to, that's how they take control. That's how they, you know, manage the situations, and she wants to be like them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, it's great to see how they like just they stick with it. You know, it's not something that's forgotten. It's not something that's missed. You know, you see it in one episode and then you don't see it again until like a season or something. You know
later,
what I mean? It's something that they're steady with. And I like that they keep bringing you back to these things, because it keeps it fresh in your mind, because to me, it means there's a lot more to it coming. Eventually, at some point, there's more to it coming. So they keep it there for you. It's here, you know, like, here it is, it's coming.
Little droplets.
Yeah. So I like the fact that they're so steady and consistent with all that kind of stuff, because it leads you to believe that there's definitely something bigger or more coming up, you know, that is about that situation or topic at hand.
And aren't there 2 episodes left? Is that right?
Yeah, we got 8 and 9.
7, or like, so I like how they kind of book, like, so Frank and Bill was 3, Ellie and Riley is 7.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was intentional, but I thought about that. I was like, oh, look at that. They kind of bookended that with, so I'm hoping there's 2 action-packed episodes to end it.
Oh, it's going to be action-packed.
Yeah, so I like how they did that. They focused on Bill and Frank in 3, and we're in 7. I don't know. I just thought that was cool.
If they had stuck to the original format of the show, that would have been so off. Because remember, 1 was supposed to be 2 episodes.
Yeah, right.
So it's so much better that they kept it together, because that works, what you just said.
Yeah. So I thought it was a cool one. And like I said, I didn't say anything about that in the podcast. I don't know if it was intentional, but because I know they did the first episode, you know, extended, because they just couldn't find a good stopping point. It didn't make sense. There was no good, where to break so that it doesn't seem so, disjointed or whatever. So yeah, I really I just thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
She's been annoying me for the past 20 minutes.
That's
Like, I want to be on a podcast.
She's been sitting at my feet whining.
So we want to talk about the 4 or 5 wonders of the mall. With the first one being, I guess, the bonus one is the escalator. Obviously, for Ellie, stuff like this is completely, mind-blowing, kind of stuff. I guess even as a kid, like, if you're ever like at the mall and you see like a little kid for the first time trying to go on an escalator, it's that type of excitement, like it's like this thing does this, it walks for you basically. So
Think of that scene in Elle.
Yeah.
When he's trying to go up the escalator, he's just like stretching his legs.
Yeah. The Victoria's Secret scene is hysterical.
The thong.
Yeah, with the thong thing, like just. She's like, oh, it looks uncomfortable. Like, how can people wear that? Kind of stuff.
Yeah. Why do people wear that?
Yeah.
Well,
Let me count the ways.
right.
Let's get to probably I guess I'm going to say the most powerful wonder of them all, and that's going to be the merry-go-round. I know that we talked about a scene like this, kind of like this in another show that we don't watch. Well, we do watch, but we don't. Yeah, some of us. Well, some of us watch it because they have to write about it.
I still watch it.
I think I'm probably going to watch the last season, just because it's the last season, and I want to see like
Madison. What?
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, yeah. What's funny is I just watched Sons of Anarchy again for the first time in the longest time, and I forgot that she was in Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like...
Very different role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, I forgot you were in this. Holy, there's your butt.
Yeah, you learn a whole new side to that woman.
Yeah, what was her name?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Colette? Colette.
Yeah.
I think it was Colette.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say this merry-go-round scene was extra special because for those of you that didn't catch it, the carousel song was Just Like Heaven by The Cure. And I was like,
I was waiting for you to talk about this.
Like, okay, the 80s girl in me was already freaking out about the mall, just because it's a mall. And
right.
The 80s, right? I mean, that's just, the mall was just the 80s thing. But then I was listening and I was like, it was so slowed down. It was that tinging of the carousel song. And I'm going, wait a minute, I know this song. And I just thought it was so freaking cool. So yeah. I love that. I thought it was so awesome.
Yeah,
I was watching it, I thought of you actually. I'm waiting for Renee's text.
Well, because that song is about running away with someone you love, that you've fallen in love with, so it fit so well.
It was a subtle nod for what was to come later in the episode.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I have to say that like my heart definitely like dropped when it all of a sudden just came to a stop, and I was just like, oh, because like obviously this whole episode, if you follow the game or if you played the game, you know what's coming. So it's like, what, so like when that happened and they look up and she's like, oh shit, she gotta see if she can fix her or whatever. My heart is literally pounding at this point because I'm like, I know it's coming. You just don't know when. Like, like, so immediately it starts bringing you like on the edge of your seat about, the next coming minutes and what's going to happen. But yeah, I gotta say, like, this scene overall was probably the most powerful scene in the whole show besides the last, the ending where Riley gets bit. And that, of course, is probably the other really powerful moment of it is when they sit there and she's like, talks about the two options. Which, think about it, you got a 14-year-old girl and Riley's like, what, 15 or 16, I'm guessing? She's 17.
Yeah.
So you got two young teenagers talking about possibility of having to, kill themselves, basically. That's powerful.
Which is freaky.
Yeah, that's powerful stuff.
Yeah. Because, like, I mean, we're used to that kind of conversation coming from adults to adults.
Yeah.
We don't really, I mean, we've seen kids die, like, hate to do it, Walking Dead. we've seen kids die, but it's not been a conversation to be like, well, there's two options in front of us.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's dark.
Yeah.
That's really dark, and I love it.
Yeah.
See, in The Walking Dead, I wasn't sad over any child's death except for Mika. Or was it Mika? Was that her name?
Mm-hmm.
When the sister,
the girl.
Oh,
only
yeah.
because that was a little different. But every other child death, I was like, all right. But in The Last of Us,
one-
Even Sophia.
Sophia, I was just gonna say thank you, Renee.
Sophia Carol.
Yeah,
see,
I had
it
no
was just-
attachment to
yeah.
Sophia. They didn't, there was no.
Yeah, and maybe it was more Carol, then maybe it was more.
It was the
That was
fact.
Carol's reaction. That's what got me.
It was the fact that Carol was holding on to that last bit of hope
Yeah.
when everyone else knew, including us,
Had given up.
that she was dead.
Yeah.
Carol had that last bit of hope because she didn't have her husband anymore. Her not that she had much affection for him, but she only had her daughter left for all intents and purposes, and that was like her last little bit of hope.
Mm-hmm.
And then kudos to Melissa, because the way that she portrayed it was so gut wrenching and heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And you could see it on her face. That just the transition, and then I think Daryl held her back.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and I mean, that was just wow. So I don't know if it was so much to Renee's point. I don't know if it was so much her death or if it was Carol's reaction.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you think about it, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, and then I think it was it Rick that finally shot her.
Yeah, Rick was the one.
Yeah, because I remember he pointed to his was it the python and fucking shot her. But you could even see in his eyes, he was like, I don't want to do this, but I have to.
Well, like Pi just said, everybody that read the comics expected Sophia to make it.
Yeah.
So I think that was part of it.
No.
Yeah, I didn't read the comics.
Yeah, so I think that maybe was part of it. But Mika, that was a complete, didn't have a clue.
Yeah. But if you think about it, fast forward to when Henry died.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sad for Henry. I was sad for Carol.
Yeah, again.
And once again, she had that same reaction. And once again, Daryl told her back. So it's just the parallels from season 2 to season 9, which was just insane. But once again, I feel bad for Carol. So I didn't have the emotional attachment to these kids, except for Mika. But with Riley, that broke me. It broke me when I played the game, and it broke me when I watched it.
So Zay says, episode 4, Ellie tells Joel that she's already killed one person before she even met him. When Joel later asks if she wants to talk about it, she declines. Was Riley the first person Ellie killed?
It's never been confirmed,
but
we all pretty much know that that's what it was.
Yeah, yeah, because timeline-wise, with this being the downloadable content, there was extra content. Timeline-wise, it's I guess hard to place, but she just enters the Fedra camp and stuff like that. So
I can tell you when this takes place.
Yeah, how old is she when she enters the Fedra camp?
When Ellie or Riley?
Ellie
had been in it for I think a little bit at this point, but
Riley had been there for a while.
Riley, because her parents, it was after her parents died.
Yeah.
But the events of Left Behind took place 3 weeks before she met Joel.
Okay.
Because a really great way to remember that, when they realized Ellie, when Tess gets bitten, and she's like, oh, this was 3 weeks ago. This is a couple of hours.
Right.
That's always how I remember it.
Okay. So, all right. So then roughly 3 weeks prior, she had to kill, Riley. Yeah. So I do want to say that the arcade scene really made me jealous because I've always wanted to break into one of those coin machines and just take all the coins and play all the video games I wanted.
Yep.
You got to come down here then. we have this arcade where you pay by the hour.
Oh.
And you get unlimited play.
Okay.
That sounds really cool.
That sounds like a good time.
So,
yeah.
Road trip.
It was fun though to watch them, play Mortal Kombat. I mean, I brought back memories for me playing Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was fun. Then they panned to the one. It's not a clicker because it's already like it's phasing into like the wall, right? So what does that classify as, Meg?
They never really stated it because it's like, when we way back in episode 1, I was kind of like, breaking down the different ones.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the end, you know, they get attached to the wall and
Yep.
then it takes over. That's
Yep.
how Joel and Tess found the one infected. But this one, I don't really know because he's infected, but he's kind of just in, I don't want to say a comatose state because he gets woken up.
Yeah,
I
right.
don't really know. But there's a really cool, remember the episode with Henry and Sam and the story of Ish?
Mm-hmm.
There's another similar story with this.
Okay.
In the game, when Ellie has to go through and find like medicine for Joel,
Mm-hmm.
she finds a key for the pharmacist. Like it's like there's like a pharmacy in there, which if you watch the episode, they show CVS.
Yep.
So I was like, oh, nice little nod to it.
That's cool.
There's a note you find in the game saying that the pharmacist was infected, and he locked the pharmacist in the next door in the next door. So I feel like that was kind of the pharmacist, but without showing that it was the pharmacist, even though it was two different timelines. I feel like they kind of just merged the two.
Gotcha. All right.
That's just my opinion, at least.
Yeah, no, it's so let's fast forward to where Ellie leaves. She gets frustrated because she finds the pipe bombs that that Riley's been making and is supposed to use on the attack against Fedra and everything like that. So Ellie storms off, but then hears screaming and comes running back. Now I will tell you, I had a little jump scare reaction to that fucking Halloween prop thing. I swear to God, when it first went off and I saw it happen, I had a little jump scare. I was like, oh shit. So it got me too. But then, we have the whole scene play out with the attack. Obviously none of them know what to do. None of them know that, I think Ellie stabs the thing probably, I think like 6 or 7 times she goes and stabs
She's
it.
going in the waist.
Yeah, in the waist and the rib area and everything like that. Riley's shooting it, but shooting in the legs and everywhere else. And it's not until Ellie like tackles it and stabs it in the head where, it's dead. So, going back to what we were just talking about, Ellie's bit, Riley's bit, and
World went to shit.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they went from this like happy moment of like kind of like carefree kid stuff to all of a sudden you're an adult and now you gotta make an adult decision.
Talking some real shit.
They got away with it in the episode though. In the game it was like a mini horde.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's I guess like I said, once again you hear like the gamers that are upset about the lack of things like that that are not playing out.
I'm not upset. I liked the change.
Yeah, well that's so I mean, obviously when you go online and social media and everything else and you see all these pages and you see like how people are like, oh, it's once again, oh, it's not the video game. Well, no shit, it's not the video game. It's a TV show based on it, and it's like succeeding far and above, I believe, anyone's expectations have been, because you're not used to something like this succeeding on such a level that it has. So
not to mention the fact that there could never be a 100% perfect translation from game to TV show.
It would be boring to take a game and make it exactly. You got
like watch the gameplay.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like Chris said earlier, you got to put those human elements into it to make it more interesting and get people invested in these characters who people like me who have no idea about the game. I don't know who these people are. I got to know who they are. I got to have something to be invested in their lives and in their stories.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is that why you didn't really care so much for this episode? Because
I think it was the same with the Bill and Frank. It wasn't that they were bad episodes. It's just I don't know who these people are. And I think if you talk, just like I said about that episode, you talk to the gamers, they loved it. They loved having more backstory. And that sort of thing because they know who these people are. To me, I don't know who they are. And it wasn't like I said with the Bill and Frank, it wasn't a bad episode.
Right.
It was just okay. Here's 2 new people. I'm just learning a story. Where's the action? Where's the
Now let me ask you, because you were saying with 3 and 7, it was similar situations where we just got thrown in with these new characters. But now with the episode with Sam and Henry, they were introduced to our gang to our group, and they kind of went with them.
Mhm.
Now, do you think if Bill and Frank or maybe Riley had been introduced in that sort of manner, do you think you would have liked it more?
I think so, because I know Joel and Ellie. I know
Right.
them. You know what I mean? Yeah, sure. I was thrown into that too, but I've already gotten some.
It was gradual.
Exactly. Yeah, it wasn't like, okay, here's two brand new characters and they have nothing to do. This
Run with it.
has nothing to do with it. You know, no Joel,
Yeah.
no Ellie, no Tess, no anybody I know. Mhm.
I think if they introduced Bill in the show how they did in the game,
Right.
Yeah.
you
Right.
would have liked him so much better. And
Yeah.
I think
And again, like I said, there weren't bad episodes. I get
No.
or whatever, but it felt like they just didn't fit with what, if you take those two episodes and take them out, I don't feel I'm missing anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with the,
Honestly, you're not. You're
Yeah.
really not.
and I get it for the gamers; they're thrilled to death to have these backstories and to see this fleshed out on screen and to see Ellie. And I mean, it's interesting because it is Ellie, so to see I guess to see some of Ellie's backstory, that part is interesting to see. I mean, I knew what was coming. I knew she was going to get bitten.
Yeah.
But I mean, I knew that was what the whole thing was building to. And you guys had mentioned something, probably not even like in our pre-show, like earlier on. You and Chris talked about Riley. Not trying to spoil anything for me. So I knew something was coming with this person named Riley, and so I knew there was a person in her life coming. So when I heard that there was a Riley, I like, oh, this is what they were talking about. So I kind of knew there was something important coming, which you guys didn't spoil anything for me. It's just that I knew there was something coming. So, it's just, I mean, I get what they're doing with it and things like that. And the acting was great. I'm not saying anything negative about that part of it.
Yeah.
It's just, like I said, to make the story flow, I wouldn't have missed anything not seeing these, or missing these two episodes.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I could definitely see that. I will say though, going back, you mentioned acting. Bella, however you want to say it. Their reaction to getting bit and screaming like no, and trying to rub it off.
Yep.
Shivers down my spine. That was so powerful, and everybody's saying that if Bella does not get a nomination based on that scene alone,
Exactly.
Yeah.
because what is wrong with
I mean,
that?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I thought about that. I thought, wow, what a reaction! Because who wouldn't want to try to wipe that off? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
get off me.
Like there's a bug on me, get it off. Meanwhile, you got like venom running through your veins.
Exactly, it's there, honey. It's in there.
You
Yeah.
can't get rid of it. But when you're 14, what do we know? We didn't know anything at 14.
Heck, as an adult, that's probably what I would do. Yeah.
Like, ew, I don't want the blood on my jeans.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So the episode ends with Ellie stitching up Joel with some 20-year-old needle and thread that she found.
I squirmed in that scene.
Like I'm thinking, like you got nothing to sterilize with.
Yeah.
So
Hey, do with what you got.
yeah, I know. I mean, not going to heal well, but
Yeah.
I mean, maybe she learned how to do that in Fedra camp. I have no idea, or she's just doing it on
Maybe
a whim.
she just learned how to sew
Yeah,
it.
man, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe she just learned how to
Yeah.
sew.
I mean, you have to kind of a lot of times you have to make your own clothing.
Yeah, right.
So sewing up a wound is not that much different from sewing on a button.
Nope.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, and it leads off with an introduction of a new group of people, which are not good people, to say the least. They are a bunch of bad guys. You had two miscellaneous things, Meg. What'd you have?
First one is I'm gonna save my favorite one for last. The first one, the Macho Nacho, that's a nod once again to Uncharted.
Okay.
In the fourth game, the main character's wife, Elena, who's my favorite character, talks about how her first job was at Macho Nacho. Now, they've referenced Uncharted multiple times throughout the show. The first being the lighter that Tess used was the exact replica of what Troy Baker's character used in the fourth game.
Okay.
Now, also, I mentioned about Raja's arcade, once again being a nod, and now this. On TikTok, and in the second game, you find the main character's ring in a lockbox. TikTok has been going crazy, saying, "Are the two universes combined?
That'd be cool.
Does that mean the characters of Uncharted don't make it in the apocalypse?" I'm gonna pretend that doesn't happen because I love it. Because we all know I love Uncharted. However, the other one, it's a big error. When Ellie's looking at the picture in the federal agent's office, I guess of like the agent's wife and daughter.
Yeah.
They're in front of roller coasters. Now, I'm from New Jersey. You can and so we have a Six Flags here. Those are clearly the rides of 𝐁𝐞𝐚𝐮 and El Toro in the background. However,
they didn't exist.
Game,
they didn't exist.
Wait, in the game or in the show, the world ended in 2003. 𝐁𝐞𝐚𝐮 and El Toro didn't open until 2005 and 2006.
Right. Yeah.
I pulled a Ryan and I did research on it. Now, however, but in the game, the world ended in 2013.
Right.
So the rides would have been open for about 6 to 7 years at this point. So I'm curious, like, are they kind of like merging the timelines a little bit, or did they just fuck up? Or maybe they just hoped, people didn't recognize the mistake.
I think it.
But it pissed me off.
I mean, honestly, I think it could just be them wanting to show a little bit of both worlds. You know what I mean?
That's kind
of like thinking, best of both worlds kind of thing. Video game, show, and kind of merge.
I mean, we
merge where you can.
Coney Island or something. Show the roller coaster that's been there for years and years. Not because El Toro and 𝐁𝐞𝐚, they've won awards for their rides. They were the biggest and the best, for a while, and everybody knows those rides. So if they were trying to be discreet, they should have chosen something different. But that grinded my guts.
I think that like with any show like that, we talk about like with Walking Dead all the time, where you have to have a certain suspension of belief, right? Yeah. And so I think in a fictional world like this, where you have something that, yes, it's based on real science, but it's a very fictional thing that's happening, that you can get away with stuff like that, where, because again, like Meg's point, they're two of the most easily recognizable roller coasters that you could ever, or, rides that you could ever picture, you know what I mean? So if you really wanted to have it, that's the best way to do it, is because people will know. People will identify it, and I think that makes sense, that you'll start seeing more of that, because it's going to be harder to maintain the different timelines between the game and the show.
Okay.
I was a little concerned though that they chose El Toro, because El Toro is currently closed indefinitely because a lot of people got injured on the ride.
Oh shit!
2 years.
Yikes!
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's a very rough roller coaster.
I don't do roller coasters, so.
It's a lot of fun.
I love roller coasters.
God put us on the ground for a reason. There's a reason why we come from the earth and we return to the earth. I'm just saying.
But he also gave you some of the knowledge to engineer these rides for our pleasure.
There you go. But also, that kind of makes me wonder, like, was this the actor's real wife and daughter? Now hear me out, because if not, then this means the production team was in New Jersey. And they were 30 minutes from my house. Just like how Walking Dead is filming all their spin-offs a half hour or 35 minutes from my house.
Why aren't you there getting us back behind the scene pictures?
Do you know how many times people have texted me asking why am I not there?
I am so sure.
Every time they're like, oh, certain towns are going to be closed off, my friend's like, you got to get there. I'm like, I have a job. Like, I can't just...
I mean, I have addresses for you if you want them. Okay, I have a question. Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
So, Joel tells Ellie just to leave, to go get Tommy, right? At the beginning, he's like, go, just go.
Yeah.
And she starts to leave, right? We think she's starting to leave. It kind of looks like she's going to leave. Then we see this whole flashback kind of thing, which kind of seems like, is she remembering it? Is she thinking about this and that? Then that all happens, and then we see her again. So, and then the next thing we see, and maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but the next thing we see, it almost looks like she's gonna go, but then she starts looking for supplies. Mm-hmm. So do you think, again, this is non-gamer asking a question, do you think she was kind of thinking, I mean, obviously she didn't stand there and think about that whole, that long of a time, but, did she kind of think about that and maybe whatever happened with Riley and decided to stay, or do you think she was never going to leave Joel?
It's funny you said that because when you guys told me to ramble in the beginning, I talked about this. So I probably just said it's way too
okay.
So yeah, so in the game,
Mm-hmm.
Ellie brings Joel to an abandoned mall instead of being in a basement.
Right.
Now in the show, Joel's telling her, "Leave, go get Tommy," because leave, I'm not gonna make it. Go to Tommy, and he'll take you wherever. But when she gets to the top of the in the game, she gets she starts trying to find medicine for him, and she starts remembering the last time she was at the mall was with Riley, which caused this flashback.
Okay.
But in the show, she gets to the top of the stairs and she starts thinking about the last time she lost somebody, which the last person she lost was Riley. Tess doesn't count because she didn't really know Tess.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So she thinks of Riley, which brings back this flashback, and she realized, I couldn't do anything to save Riley, but I can do something to save Joel, which is what causes her to start rummaging through the house trying to find medicine.
Okay.
And
I was probably on the chat when you said that then. Okay, so
yeah. I just ramble like crazy, you know that.
No, that's fine. I know I was chatting when you were saying things and you said that and I was trying to keep up. So
yeah, no, that's basically what it was.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. I think we're wrapped. We're good.
I think so.
Okay.
My attention span's out the window right now.
I know, yeah.
You're drifting?
Dude,
Ryan's drifting. He's
no, Meg, please take no offense to this. I'm running on like 2 hours of sleep. I'm running on empty right now, and I don't know what the fuck I was thinking about. But like, I just remember like looking back, and I saw the chat, and then I was like, Meg was saying something, and I go, how the fuck did we get here?
He was asleep with his eyes open.
Yeah,
No
much.
offense taken. We've all been there.
No, like I legitimately am diagnosed with ADD, and so usually I'm much better about it. But when I sleep is when you see it really, like when I'm exhausted, you see it come out bad. And Chris has seen me at work where like we'd be in an office with our old boss, and they would say something to me, and I'd be like,
Yep.
Yep.
and he'd be like, Ryan, huh? What?
What? I'm really here.
Yeah.
We've all been there. I get it.
Oh, Pookie, you're so cute.
Well, on that note,
all right, everybody. We will be back, obviously, for the discussion of episode 8, which should be a really good one. Action-packed for all the action-packed lovers. And
it's the semi-season finale.
Yes, we're halfway there. We're in
We're more
the
than
chubby
halfway there.
mode.
More than halfway there.
You know what I meant.
Yeah, we're at the penultimate episode.
We're 88% there.
Yeah.
Or
Stop
we
doing
will
math.
be.
Yeah.
No math. It's too late.
Math is
for
hard.
Yeah.
It's past 8 o'clock. Too
I
late
don't
for math.
math ever, so
One of my favorite shirts I have is Deadpool, and it's him with a knife in his head, and he just goes, "I have the dumb."
all right, everybody. Thank you for being here. We will see you next
Thank
week.
you.
Look out for the announcement. Renee will be posting on the day and time that we will go live to talk about The Last of Us episode 8.
Oh, and one more plug for the Camp Cares,
Yep.
our homeless outreach we're doing in Atlanta, May 25th. I put the links in our description if you guys would like to donate. There are links to, there's that link tree, so it has the links to their Amazon wish list. If doesn't matter where you live, you can go into those wish lists. There's items in there. You can order one, and it'll send it to the person it needs to go to. So it would be greatly appreciated because there are a lot of homeless people in Atlanta that we're going to be able to serve on that day. So we're very excited for that event. So
Very good.
any little bit is appreciated.
Yes, we did post it earlier in the
Yeah.
chat, and we'll. I think we're gonna pin it. You want to pin it?
Well, that was the camp.
That's the
This
camp.
is
Oh,
the Camp
okay.
Cares. Yeah.
But I am gonna copy and paste my message from earlier. That way, if you go to the link, it has everything for the camp itself. We're going to be there obviously in May,
Yep.
and we'll be doing the live stage panels again.
Yep.
So if you guys want to just even come out, just fly all the way to Georgia, just hang out with us. We'll be there. But they have really great payment plans, things like that to help people out because I know like traveling and things like that expenses are hard. So they really do touch every base to help everybody that they possibly can. So
Yeah, their VIP plans are the best way to go because that's one price. I mean, obviously you have to get your travel there, but the VIP covers
All
your
inclusive.
hotel, your entry to all the events, the parties, everything, and they'll let you do payment plans on and things. So it's, I mean,
And
it's
your meals too.
Yeah, your meals, everything. So it's a wonderful, they really work with everyone because they know it's not cheap to do these things, and so they want everyone to be able to have the opportunity to attend and have so much. And it's seriously, you guys, it's the most fun you'll ever have. It just is, and you get to hang out with us.
Exactly. It's win-win.
Yeah. So hopefully we get hopefully we get to see some of your faces there.
Yes.
For the first time or the second or third, fourth, whatever it is. So yeah, but we will definitely see you guys next week. Yes, Pi, we will definitely be. I don't have anything tying me up right now for next week, so
a lot of stats coming from you, Pi.
We should be here Monday or Tuesday of next week once we figure out our schedules. So
what were you gonna say, Meg?
Oh, for all you gamers or people that are interested in playing the game, part 2 of the game is currently on sale for $10 right now.
Ooh,
So,
nice.
if you want to get into it before the second season,
4 or 5,
which probably won't be until 2024 or 2025, then get on it.
It'll still come out before Grand Theft Auto 6.
Man.
Absolutely. That's gonna come out on PS25.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. We
thanks,
love you.
Yep.
Peace.
Hey, Renee, Chris, and Ryan going live. Best podcast, Beauty and the Beast. Sit back and catch a vibe. Oh yeah, we talking zombies and apocalypses and all those things you like. Going beast mode, and if you didn't know, it's Peter Z up on the mic. Whoa, hey, TWD family, grab the snacks about the pantry and subscribe and like if you can, please. Or those walkers eat you like some candy. Hey, okay. You at the right place at the right time. No one does it better, that's the bottom line. Beauty and the Beast, this is prime time. Let's go.